I am someone who loves traveling and going to hotels and just really being able to tap into new levels of creativity. Like, I feel like when you travel, when you're in the train or in an airplane, it's like you're reaching these elevated levels of consciousness. And for me, I just like always have ideas flowing through me. So right now I am in Marseille, which is the south of France, and just in this beautiful hotel. Like, oh my gosh, how beautiful is this backdrop? So something that was really coming through in the past week as I've been launching Story Codes, Embodiment Story Real Workshop, and the Story Alchemy Mastermind is there are 100 million people teaching the exact same thing that you do. But there's only one person who can share their story the way that you do. The reason someone is going to choose to work with you isn't because of your knowledge or expertise. For those of us who are in the creative space, the transformational growth space, everyone is teaching the same things, the same principles, the same concepts. The only thing that is going to set you apart is your unique perspective. It's the way that you share the teaching. And that means it comes through your filter and your stories. And this really became super clear to me because I have heard about the spiritual laws for years. I've even semi-studied them. I've had clients who have specialized in them. I've heard them all around. I even went to a conference in Vegas around the spiritual laws, and they never really landed with me. Like, it just never really hit me in the heart, like, oh yes, I feel that, And it's because the people who I was hearing it from, there wasn't necessarily resonance. Now, that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with them. Where I want to bring you back to your power, to recognize the divine power that you have as a business owner, is the way that you share your story. And not just your story, but stories in general. That is what is going to create resonance. And this is why it hit me so deeply recently, because I am deep in this process right now of buying my first home in Paris. And there's a lot of faith work that goes into that. A lot of faith, a lot of trust. Of course, there's resistance, doubt, fear, all of the things. And I was having this innate knowing of this is how it's going to be. This is when it's going to happen. And not realizing that that is the law of assumption, my friends. And I was listening to one of my past mentors' podcasts, and she was telling a story completely on a different topic. She was talking about her son on a baseball team and knowing that he was going to move up the ranks, and he didn't know how, when, what team, how it was going to work, and he was disappointed when he wasn't chosen. And then they ended up getting this phone call, and it was a different team that wanted to recruit him. And her son says to him, "Mom, I always knew I was going to be chosen. I always knew." And so she was using this to illustrate the law of attraction. So here, the law of attraction, the law of assumption. And this is what happens when we are listening to someone tell a story. We are listening to their words, but our brain is scanning our life experience for similar experiences to see how we can connect the dots, how we can relate. Our brains are naturally going to do that. And that's where someone either checks out of the conversation or they lean in because it's creating this resonance, this frequency resonance, right? And here's where you get to be in your power, because when you know how to tell better stories, you can actually connect the dots for your people so that they're not having to do the hard work. So anyways, I was listening to this podcast and all of these light bulbs went off in my head because I was like, wait a sec. The law of assumption, that's exactly what I was doing. And I was realizing holy crap, now I finally know what the law of assumption is. Even though I've had many people teach on it, I've went to a whole conference on it, and it was just light bulb lit, because it's the way that she shared it. The way that she shared the story created the mirror effect in my mind. So whether you're teaching on health and wellness, mindfulness, spirituality, spiritual laws, business principles, strategy, whatever industry you're in, right? There is only going to be your story that is going to set you apart from why someone is going to feel connected to working with you. And that's why story is so important, because it's how we connect as human beings, but it's also such a powerful, I don't want to say strategy, but it's such a powerful tool in your business for sales, because ultimately we are heart-centered entrepreneurs. We want to work with people that we connect with. And I'm such a firm believer that your story is going to be the thing that fills the gap. Someone will choose to work with you because of the story you tell the way that you connect the dots, the way that you flip the mirror, and bring it back to them. Now, for some people who have a more expressive personality, this might be natural because they might be driven by connection. You might be someone who naturally, when you're speaking with someone, you're looking for commonality, you're looking for rapport. So you might naturally be a great storyteller and know how to build connection with people. But it's also a phenomenal skill to develop, not just as a salesperson, not just as a business owner, but really understanding this deep work that we're doing with our clients, because it really is all about that connection. And when we feel safe and seen, we can open ourselves up to receiving that wisdom and that guidance that we need to elevate to the next level. And so this is something that I teach within my program, Story Codes. This is my signature program, and oh my gosh, there's so much in there. This is like a holistic program of the inner alchemy of becoming who you are, high-level storytelling, messaging that moves people. I talk about how to use and leverage storytelling as someone who is an extroverted expressionista, or how to really leverage storytelling when you're maybe more introverted, you're more private. You don't necessarily want to exploit every moment of your day-to-day life in your business. There's really two different approaches, right? And I think that's very important that we're being in consent with what we're sharing. We talk about the 3 types of soul stories that move people or inspire people. We talk about the types of stories that actually activate people, that move them, that show them, that shift their perspective, like belief shifting messaging. There's a beautiful module in there around 3D to 5D level consciousness messaging, because that's so underlooked. You really have to understand what level of consciousness is your person in, right? 3D is that victim consciousness, and 5D is in that co-creator type consciousness. Different approaches to messaging. We have a beautiful workshop called Embodiment Story Reels, which is literally like, for me, the funnest way to express yourself, to really show who you are, what you stand for, that you're the living, walking, talking proof of what you teach, of what you advocate for. And depending on when you're watching this video, if you join Story Codes this month of September, then you'll get the free workshop call with me and the other women on September 30th. And we also have the Story Alchemy Mastermind that is kicking off in October. And I have ran this program many times, and the shifts and growth that I've seen women have in this program, it's not just about how do I tell this curated story to the world, but it's how do I be more embodied and actually who I am. So you're not just going to learn how to tell better stories, you're going to learn how to leverage the power of your story as a bridge to your work and why people would want to choose to work with you. You're not going to be practicing like, look at me storytelling all about vanity, but really connecting your personal experiences to the hearts of the women that you're meant to lead. And you're not just going to be telling stories to be seen, but you're going to be learning how to tell stories that build momentum, that create resonance and a sense of belonging. Because all stories, like one of the key story codes, is identity and belonging. I'm going to leave all of the links in the show notes here or wherever you're watching this video, but please reach out to me if you're interested in story codes or the Story Alchemy Mastermind, or working with me privately in my signature story one-to-one mentorship. And other than that, subscribe to my new YouTube channel. I'm so excited. I love this place. I love creating videos for you guys. And connect with me on Instagram. I at Brittany Hammond. And other than that, I'm wishing you a beautiful day from the sunny Marseille in the south of France. Bisous.